All right. Shout out to the Brits. Oh yeah, Innovate in the house. The trail, I believe this is called, let me just make sure. I think it's the Trail Fly Ultra. Thanks for sending, ooh, 2 pairs. As discussed via email, these are the new nitrogen-infused Innovate trail shoes. Oh my goodness. I've always said Innovate is, it's like Innovate, probably like La Sportiva, and then probably Solomon as far as build quality is concerned. But I've always been a little concerned about the durometer of their midsoles just being a little firm. Nitrogen infused, I can sense they are buttering some more bread with this like I can just feel, I'm doing the thumb test right now. So very exciting. That's amazing. Great job, Innovate, pushing the ball down the court. All right, question of the day. Your top success story for coming back from a running injury. What is your top success story for coming back from a running injury? That's what we're discussing today. Yes, being out of shape as a runner, being patient. Who is it? Hold on. Jason over on Strava. You're going to get the comment of the day here in a second. I'm just waiting for a little bit of sunlight to come up. Speaking of returning from injury, I'm on the every other day schedule for 3 weeks. So you run a day, you rest a day. You run a day, you rest a day. Now I can still walk. That's what I'm doing right now. Getting those steps in. But the run and rest routine has been taught to me by my doctors. Now listen to your doctors. Maybe they might say something different. But my doctors through the years have taught me with stress fractures, you run a day, you rest a day. You run a day, you rest it for 3 weeks. Okay? And what you're doing is you're allowing the bone to reabsorb the new training you're putting into it and allowing that stress fracture to completely heal while still putting some work into it, some load onto the bone, because similar, it's different, but similar to soft tissue, the bone is, believe it or not, it is breaking down just a teeny tiny bit every time you go run. And that's how your bones become harder and more dense and not as fragile. That's why it's important for, as we age, to lift weights. Because when you lift weights, you are, you're increasing the bone density of your bones. Same with running, but what happens with stress fractures is that you're putting so much load and work into the bone that if you don't allow enough time for the bone to rebuild itself, then you can lead into a stress reaction. And eventually, if you push through it like I did, and I felt something and I wasn't sure what it was, remember I thought it was an upper glute issue, and sure enough, it was actually the sacrum bone. So lesson learned there, and we march on. But that's where the on and off again schedule is what I've been up to these last, 10 days. Oh, the sun is rising, but that doesn't mean it's any warmer out here. Oh man, all right, can you hear me? Let me zip, hold on. Let me zip my jacket down a little bit. It is free, it might be a friendly reminder right now, a little public service announcement. It might be time to order some new hand warmers for the winter and toe warmers actually. My toes are a little chilly. Here's the deal. Jason, comment of the day, he asked on Strava. Love to hear your comments in your vlog about staying patient coming back from injury. I know for myself, I want to jump right back in and really have to hold myself back those first few weeks. So Jason, my answer to your question is understand the situation. Specifically, the timeline. I was not gonna toss the towel in on Pikes Peak, I didn't toss it in until about 6 weeks into the sacrum stress fracture, only because I've seen situations in the past where people have returned from stress fractures in 8 weeks. It's happened. I've seen it done. But this one ended up being 12 weeks. So the timeline was off for, let's say, in my case, getting back for Pikes Peak. If you're getting ready, Jason, or anybody out there for, let's say, your 6th major marathon, you've done all of them: Chicago, New York, Boston, Berlin, London, and the last one you're training for is Tokyo. A little IT band issue pops up 2, 3, 4 weeks before the race. I personally would keep training, I would cross-train, I would see my physical therapist, and I'd try to make it happen. But Jason, there's a moment in time where you do have to toss in the towel, depending on the injury. And then, Jason, it's like, this is why we set so many goals on this channel. What is your future running and racing goals? For me, Jason, it's 2023. I'm excited. I've got a game plan, but I'm in no rush to come back. And listen, especially for the veteran runners out there, your aerobic capacity is there. Yeah, it's dormant right now. Let's say you have to take, well, in my case, close to 12 weeks off of very little aerobic fitness. My fitness will come back. Somebody, actually, Reed, shout out to Reed, asked me this the other day: how fast will my fitness come back? I will be back to decent fitness, not racing fitness, but decent fitness in early to mid-December, all right, if all goes according to plan. So, Jason, it'll come back quicker than you think. I just wanted to mention that. I hope that helps. Think about timeline. It's all about big picture. And, oh yeah, last point, don't go backward. It's so devastating, disheartening. It's hard to face the reality if you have to go back to square one with injury, especially bone injuries, because you have to start over. If you refracture a stress fracture, you have to start over. All right, let's get off this mountain. It is freezing out here. Two positives. 4, being out of shape and losing your aerobic fitness and having to come back from an injury. I know you're out there. We're in this together. You're commenting on Strava as I rebuild. Actually, that's point number 1. You get to go through the rebuilding process. It's really actually fun. Now, it's not as comfortable. It's a little more painful at the beginning as you're building back up. You're not as, it's just harder. You're breathing a little bit harder. But enjoy that process. And that leads to point number 2, is that when I'm injured and I'm coming back and I lose my fitness, I lose my edge, with respect to racing, it's a reminder for me mentally for the hard work that I put in before the injury. And frankly, I'm proud of the fitness that I had before the injury. For 2.5 years, I was basically injury-free, a couple niggles here and there, but overall very healthy for training at the highest level of my entire life. And so I reflect back on that experience, and I'm just grateful that I was able to stay healthy for so long and that I put in the work to get to that fitness level, achieve the goals that I achieved, and then boom, I get to go do it all over again. And I think it's really fun. It's a fun process personally for me to go through the whole rebuilding process. Onward we go. I don't even know. We'll go to maybe mental fortitude, just staying strong between the years, staying strong. It's so key as a runner, whether you're setting PRs or whether you're just getting out of the pool. Right there. All right, seek beauty, work hard, and love each other. See you tomorrow.